Hi, I'm Heather from Hia Booktubes, and today is my May wrap-up.
Don't mind my naked face. Just wanted to pop in before I post this video, let you know that I have not posted any videos this week out of respect to Black Lives Matter and the Black creators, and I don't know if it's because of everybody following, because of some people not posting like they normally do, or because it's trending, but I've seen so many more Black creators in my suggested videos than I ever have before, like ever. Even like I searched romance booktubers, and like for the first time there was a Black booktuber video in like the first 6 recommended. I don't know if it's algorithm related. I don't know if it's because of the videos that I've been watching so much this week, but I just wanted to mention this video that's why I haven't been posting. In the description, I will link a bunch of videos that I've watched that just have been exceptional and have really just pointed something out to me that I did not already know. I mean, the videos are for white people. Like, if you're Black, you already know the information. You might want to follow the creators if they're not already on your radar, but the videos themselves are really information that white people need to know. I just wanted to pop in, let you know that's what's up, because I don't think constantly posting about being muted is actually being muted. You know what I'm saying? So, there go my dogs. That means my mother-in-law is here. It's not good. All right.
In May, I read 41 books. I DNF'd 14, which I will not talk about in this video, mostly for time's sake. And so that leaves me with 27 books that I read. My first one was Eternal Hunter, which is the first in the Night Watch series by Cynthia Eden. I gave this book 4 stars. I have read other books by her in the past, and I've read other books in the series before also. Assistant DA Erin has secrets, one being she's a paranormal, and 2, so is her stalker. She moves to try and lose him, doesn't end up losing him, does end up finding the hero, who is a shifter himself and has no problem taking on a psychopath in order to make Erin his. It was a good romantic suspense story with a lot of paranormal elements thrown in. I liked how strong our main character was, as well as her love interest, and I really enjoyed it. The second one is Dirty Filthy Fix, which is Fixed 5.5. It's a 1001 Dark Nights novella by Laurelin Paige. I've read around 5 books by her in the past, and they're really dark taboo reads, as evidenced by the title, but all of the characters are a little messed up in one way or another. And this one is not your traditional happily ever after. It's not your traditional relationship, because that's not what the main character wants. So they meet at a sex club, and this is where our main character frequents, but she's never seen him before. And they have an encounter. She's thinking about him, which is not something she normally does after her escapades. She is the secretary to a very powerful man and often ends up entertaining his clients at the sex club without them knowing. She's masked, half the other people are masked, nobody knows. Well, he comes in as a client, and turns out he knows who she is. And he kind of untraditionally woos her and is like, okay, so you don't want the white picket fence with the 2.5 kids. Let's do our own version of happily ever after. And I really loved it. I really did. I enjoyed it. I thought their reasons made sense, and thought it was sweet, very kinky, very edgy, but the ending was still sweet, and it made me feel like they genuinely cared for each other. Next is Quiet Man, which is also a 1001 Dark Nights novella by Kristen Ashley. This is 0.5 in the Dream series. The first book just came out in May, and it's book 4.5 in the Dream Man series. Lottie is the queen of strippers, and she is not ashamed. She is happy with who she is. Mo works for a commando who we met in the first book in Dream Man. He's not classically good looking. He is a mountain of man. He's giant. Lots of people run away scared, and he thinks he has no shot with this beautiful stripper who he's on protection detail for. Also, he does not sleep with clients because that's how they end up dead. So nothing happens while he's on the job, even though they both want to explore something together. I really love this, obviously, because I gave it 5 stars. I love Kristen Ashley. She's my favorite author. If you watched any of my videos, she's probably going to be mentioned in at least 80 to 90% of them. I really liked that we had a stripper main character who was not just a stripper because she was in bad circumstances or she needed the money. Like, she was a stripper and she was perfectly happy with that and she was not going to change it. Yes, it has an expiration date age-wise, but she wasn't ashamed and she wasn't trying to find somebody to rescue her from the life. She was perfectly happy where she was at, and if she wasn't, she would have fixed it herself, and I really enjoyed that aspect. Next one was another 1001 Dark Nights novella. I had never read any before, and I went on a little binge of them. However, this one I gave 2 stars. Kind of snuffed out my binge, if you will. This was Dragonburn by Donna Grant. I've never read anything by this author. This was based in her Dragon King world, and I don't think that it's for me. There's just a lot of plot that I didn't find that interesting or super well done. Dragon King thawing an Ice Queen who's actually a personal assistant and just an uptight human. He's using her for his mission, and then she ends up in danger, yada yada yada. It wasn't what I wanted. Next, I reread Mystery Man, which is the first in the Dream Man series by Kristen Ashley. I gave this 5 stars again, even though if you've read this, you know what the days are, and I still do not know what was going on with them. I don't understand the explanation. If you are pretty sure of what happened there, you can comment and tell me, because I've read it 2 times and I genuinely don't have a clue what was actually happening. That being said, it's an excellent book. I love it. There's a little bit of everybody's falling for this girl and it's like, whoa, all these hot men from different walks of life all of a sudden can't leave her alone. But all those other men get their own books. Our main guy, our first guy, wins out, obviously, but you end up really liking all the other guys and are happy to see them get their happily ever afters in their own books. This is a super dramatic plot, like one of the most dramatic Kristen Ashley books I've ever read. I do think it's one of her earlier books, and so it's not what I would call her best book, but I still gave it 5 stars. Like, I love this book, so I'm not trash talking. However, it is not the book that I would recommend for you to start with for Kristen Ashley because she definitely has better books. Hawk is a commando, Gwen is a girly girl who loves her stilettos, and it's fun watching them make it work. It's fun watching the kind of bizarre setup that started and him kind of realizing, hey, I should be into this girl. And I don't know. I love it. I love seeing them show up in the other books and all the different series. I love just seeing all the tie-ins, seeing them happy. And that is what I love about Kristen Ashley, is you just get to see couples be happy so much of the time, despite the dramatics, despite sometimes the setbacks or the very real issues that the couples have personally or together. You get to see them be happy, and that's what I want. Next, I read Lured, which is the first in the Team Zero series by Rina Kent. She writes sociopaths, like genuine sociopaths, and I love it. It is dark romance, it's crazy, it's insane, and I am here for it. This was kind of a prequel to the Team Zero series, so it was actually published after the first couple, but then changed later to be the first book in the series because it does take place about 20 years before the events in the other books, which I have not read yet, but I will be. I gave it 5 stars. She knows he's a sociopath and she confronts him and kind of loves the danger, and it's their love story. It's quick, it's whirlwind. I think it's a novella. If you want a dark hero who will do anything for his girl but generally doesn't care about anybody else, this is a great book. Next was Love to Cherish, which is part of the Finding Love series by Tory Baker. This is an insta-love, alpha, over-the-top novella, and it's between the bar owner and a girl who's part of the friend group that the whole series is about, and they have girls' night at his bar. He's been waiting to make his move, sees the opportunity, makes it, you get a relationship, bam, end of story. I gave it 3 stars. I didn't love it as much as the first one, but it was okay. I'll probably read another in the series when the mood strikes. Next was Your Dad Will Do, which is the first in the Touch of Taboo series by Katee Robert. This has been all over BookTube, and I gave it 5 stars. I saw it being raved about, but I saw a post on Instagram, and she was just talking about how hot the sex was and how much she was turned on, and I was like, You know what, lady? You have talked me into it, because I usually don't buy books, but I bought it, and let me tell you, it was worth it. It was an excellent book. I will probably reread it at some point. It's a great setup. It is an age gap, but it's pretty much all filthy sex. Like, you're not getting a ton of plot. And that's kind of what I wanted. So this girl's fiance is cheating on her. She catches him, she breaks up with him, and a week later, at the beginning of the book, she shows up on his dad's doorstep trying to get him to have sex with her. This is not that hard. I really loved the ending. I thought it was exactly what the story needed. It's hot. That's what you need. Even though I'm not into daddy kink, some of the scenes in those books are just incredibly hot. Next, I read Possessive Fake Husband by B.B. Hamel. I gave this book 2 stars. I did not enjoy it at all. It was a mediocre to not good book about a business merger through the guise of an arranged marriage for business trope. There was very little to nothing about the relationship in here. It was mostly about the business merger. It was not well done, and nobody gave a crap. By nobody, I mean me. So I don't think I'll read anything else by this author. Next, I read Fortuna Sworn by KJ Sutton. I gave this book 4 stars. It's fae, and there wasn't much romance in it. Although the author did reply to me on Instagram that there's quite a bit more in the second book, so I have my hopes up for that, but it's not in Kindle Unlimited, so it might be a minute before I read it. Our main character is a literal nightmare. She touches you, she can take your fears and amplify them, and that is her power. She's one of the very last of her kind. Her younger brother disappeared 2 years ago. She's looking for him. This fae shows up, rescues her, and tells her, hey, I know where your brother is, and makes her a deal. Lesson number 1, never make deals with fae. Like, you're a paranormal. You know this. And then, so that part kind of annoyed me, because I'm like, be smarter, lady. Be smarter. However, it was good if you like ACOTAR. This is very similar to the 3 trials that Farah had to go through under the mountain. Same idea. She needs what she will earn if she passes the trials to free her brother. So there's that, and we kind of end on a little bit of a cliffhanger situation. Not completely, but like the story is not finished. You need to read the next book to really have a satisfying ending, and I haven't gotten there yet, so we shall see. There's some serious sexual tension in this book, but not much romance and little to no smut. So hopefully we'll get more of that in the next one. Next, I read That Crazy Kind by Jenika Snow. I'm pretty sure I'm done with this author. She just doesn't write quite what I'm looking for. Her synopsises always sound like they're right up my alley, and then I just don't love the way the story is. I gave it 3 stars. It's not that bad. It's just not for me. So our hero is 20 years old, and he's a high school senior who's trying desperately to get his high school diploma while taking care of his mother with cancer and trying not to fight from all the pent-up rage he has, because he's already been kicked out of other schools. He's already had to redo 2 years. This is his last shot to be able to go to college, get a career other than the mechanic that he is currently, and be able to pay for a better life. Am I the only one that hears that and thinks, just get your GED? Like, you can get into college with the GED. Am I crazy here? No. So he's a high school senior at 20 years old. He's from the wrong side of the tracks. He falls in love with this girl. That's kind of it. But honest to God, the entire story could have been skipped by him getting his GED. And that was a plot hole that I could not overlook. Next was Bloodied Hands by Adelaide Forrest. This is a mafia romance. It crossed a lot of lines, even for me, even though this is my jam and my trope. It crossed a lot of lines, and I had to give it 3 stars. There was very little conversation or communication. It was like he would just do something without even talking to her about it, and that bothered me. So we open up. Ivory is still single 10 years after her high school boyfriend broke her heart. She's in a bank when it gets robbed. One of the robbers says her name, and she's like, how would he know who I was? So she goes to see her ex-boyfriend, who's like, hey, I was a kid then, I let you go to protect you. I'm a man now, and you're not going anywhere. And that's kind of the whole premise. Honestly, based on the synopsis, I really should have loved this, but like I said, they needed to be more of a team, and I didn't enjoy the lack of communication or the way he crossed lines just because that was the end result that he wanted, and he honestly didn't even care to inform her. Next was Hell Nights by Bella Jewel. I gave this 3 stars. It's an MC romance. There were some serious trigger warnings that I did not know anything about. Every single flashback is about abuse, so I recommend just skipping the flashbacks. It wasn't that good. There was not that much relationship between the actual 2 characters. I feel like we spent way too much time doing flashbacks, and this girl had a serious attitude problem. I'm not saying that she didn't have the right to, but it made it hard to like her, and that's not really what I wanted to read. It wasn't good. Next was the Hate and Love Duet, which apparently I forgot to write down the name of this author, so I will put it on the screen. The first one, He Hates Me, I gave 5 stars. It was crazy, over the top, kinky, dark, crazy. This has some major trigger warnings. The stalker is the love interest. There are some really dark fantasies, including rape fantasy, so do be aware of that before you read this. The first book I loved. I thought it really pushed boundaries, but was well done. The second book was too much of the same, too much plot and politics thrown in that weren't well done, and so didn't interest me. Also, you didn't really get to see the characters taking charge and taking their power. You just kind of got told that that was happening. I thought that there were plot holes, and I didn't enjoy it as much. I gave the second book 3 stars. Next was His by Aria Cole and Mila Crawford. This I gave 3 stars. It was insta-love, age gap. Older man, younger woman, they were neighbors. She's curvy. Her parents don't care about her. She told them she was getting married, and they were like, do whatever you want. And that's kind of the whole thing. So, it was a novella. Next was What the Heart Needs, which is first in Star Landing by Jenika Gadziala. Jenika is one of my very favorite authors, but this was one of her first books, and I did not enjoy it nearly as much as the rest. I gave it 3 stars. Hannah is perfect for her new job. She's a really hard worker, perfectionist. She does a great job, but she's also perfect for her new boss. My problems with this book are somebody doesn't want her to date him, so they are employing psychological warfare, stalking, slut shaming, harassment, just all these things, and they're making her life awful, just terrible. And she's losing weight, and people are like, are you sick? And she just is having a horrible time, and we make it like 98% through the book, and the hero still has no freaking idea that anything is going on. That anything is going on in his company to his assistant. And love her, like he's in a relationship with her, even though she's fighting it and they're hiding it, so they're not like living together. But still, like he has no freaking clue. You're the super powerful businessman, and you have no freaking idea? Figure it out. So that killed me. It killed me. He didn't even rescue her. Like, he was just along for the rescue. So that just really frustrated me, because I was like, why are you here? Why are you here? Sure, you make her happy. Sure, you give orgasms, but why are you here? So yeah, I didn't like that. Now, that being said, this is definitely one of her first books. All of her new books I adore, and so she's still one of my favorite authors. This just was not the one that I liked. Next was Counterfeit Love by Jenika Gadziala. I gave this 5 stars. This was her brand new book in May. It is a spin-off of many of her other series. You can read it as a standalone, but you'll understand the world better if you've already read some of either the Henchman MC or the Malik Brothers, or any of her other series, but I loved it. This is a cinnamon roll hero who will help you bury the bodies. He'll kill the bodies for you if you need him to, or he'll just help you bury them if you deal with them yourself. I loved him. He was so sweet. He was still so capable of taking care of himself and anybody around him, which I always want in my love interest. I don't like people who don't have any clue what they're doing. I live that life. I don't need to read that life, you know? So Finch can spot a fake a mile away. He is a counterfeiter and a career criminal. He's also sweet and good looking and covered in tattoos, and I liked him a lot. Chris has lived through hell. She was a victim of human traffickers. She suffered awful, horrible abuse. You get a small taste of that, but you don't have to read a lot of it. or super graphically. So Jenika just always does a fantastic job of handling trauma, which most of her characters have gone through in one way or another. She handles it really respectfully and carefully, and you don't feel gross after having read it. You feel for the characters, you see the awfulness of their situation, but it's not like you are just reading through the abuse because the author enjoys writing that, which I feel like can happen sometimes, if you know what I mean. So she has a mission, is to take down human traffickers, and Finch has a skill set that she needs, so she blackmails him into helping her. She plans out everything. She's a perfectionist. She organizes everything. She did not plan on having feelings for this guy when she genuinely thought that her experience had broken her and she would never have a romantic relationship in any capacity. He was so good to her, he was careful with her and knew exactly how to help her without treating her as fragile or breakable, because she was honestly one of the strongest characters you're ever gonna read. And I loved their relationship. 5 stars all the way. I smiled, I laughed, I cried. It's perfection. Next, I read King by Flora Madison. I gave this 3 stars. It is a novella. It was over the top, alpha. Tattoo, ex-con, opened a tattoo shop. He helped pay for it while he was in prison. He gets out of prison, he sees his curvy receptionist and falls hard. That's kind of the whole thing. Next, I read Wicked Wings, which was the first in the Seraphim Academy by Elizabeth Briggs. I gave this 3 stars. It was a wannabe bully romance at a paranormal college. Our main character is half angel, half succubus demon, which isn't supposed to exist according to the treaty, so nobody can find out about her demon half. And it's reverse harem. It just wasn't that good. I really felt like it was a wannabe bully romance. I did enjoy the ending more than the rest of the book, but I don't know if I will continue with this series anytime soon. Next, I read Kane, which I gave 3 stars. It is the first in Bones MC series by Martina Carland. This I had to buy. I saw some rave reviews from somebody that I really love following on Goodreads. I have a lot of the same bookish opinions, and this, unfortunately, we were not the same. Novella, MC romance. It's only like 89 pages. There's an alpha. There's a damaged heroine who is a school teacher working to homeschool 3 kids for the motorcycle club. She's also running away from a different motorcycle club, and there's quite a bit of drama with that. It was $3.99 for 89 pages, and I didn't really like it, so I won't be doing that again. Next, I read Reaper's Pack by Rhea Watson. I gave this book 4 stars. It is a standalone reverse harem paranormal shifter romance. Our main character is a Reaper. She has gotten a bigger territory, and so she needs the help of a pack of hellhounds who shift into sexy men. However, these hellhounds have been incredibly abused and are suffering a lot of trauma. They have no interest in doing the job. They want to run away and take care of each other, and they don't really care about her. She is desperately lonely and is also determined that they are not going to go back where they came from, which will happen if they don't pass the test in 3 months. It's the medium burn. It's good. The romance is good. I wish that the guys had been a little bit nicer and understanding of her earlier in the book. I enjoyed it. If you like reverse harem, this is a good one because it is standalone, and most of them are pretty long series. Next, I read Carnal Alpha, which is a novella by Olivia T. Turner. This is over-the-top shifter romance. I gave it 3 stars. It's insta-love, it's alpha, it's curvy, it's all the things. It's a grizzly bear shifter, and that's it. Next, I read Dreammaker, which is the first in Dream Team by Kristen Ashley. I read it when it came out. I gave it 5 stars. It was amazing. I loved it. We're talking about a very nerdy, super smart stripper who is using her stripper money to pay for college, except for the fact that she is an enabler, and she is enabling her family, who are users and honestly trash human beings. Poor Evie. She agrees to this date because Lottie, who we read about in the Quiet Man novella from 1001 Dark Nights, she sets them up. Evie does it just to make her friend happy. While she meets Mag, she kind of really loves him. Her brother is in jail and sends her to pick up a creepy package. She doesn't want to drag Mag into it, so she tries to get rid of him. He's like, there's no way that is happening, as he is a commando, and so he helps her, but she's still doing her best to get rid of him because she's trying to protect him. I liked this because the book opens with Evie enabling her family, but she really has growth and sees for herself that she needs to change this and fix it, and that's her own fault because she's an adult and could have told them no at any point. She gets a found family with the other strippers, the other commandos, and a couple of members of her own family who aren't users. Next, I read His Tiger Queen by Mika. I gave this 3 stars. I'm pretty sure I'm done with this author because even though she's hilarious and I find her novellas to be over the top and entertaining, her main characters are always incredibly naive and clumsy and young and just need help walking from the bed to the door, and I'm over it. So Daisy has never been outside of her estate. She has a pet tiger that her dad gave her. Her dad is very controlling and is selling her in marriage without her consent. She just goes along with it because if she doesn't, he will kill her pet tiger. Our hero is not the guy that she's being set up in marriage with, but he's determined that nothing's going to stop her from being his. Again, it's really just the naivete and the other helplessness of the main characters that's driving me crazy, and I can't do it anymore. Next, I read Nightfall, which is the first in Tangled Crowns by Anne Denton. I gave this 4 stars. It is a fantasy reverse harem. There's an interesting magic system, and whatever your magical gift is, there's a price for using it, and it's usually the opposite. So for instance, one of the guys can heal, but anytime he uses his healing powers, he's filled with rage. Our main character is the Crown Princess. She ran away. She has magical abilities that the price is hidden from everybody. But because of them, she is bound and determined that she will not be able to rule the country. However, she hears a plot against her sister, so she returns to the palace and has to face the 4 men that she jilted at the altar. I would have liked for the guys to be nicer to her earlier. The tension and the political games, the humor, the steamy times, the magic system, it was all really good. I will continue the series, and I definitely recommend it if you enjoy fantasy reverse harems. Lastly, I have Blaze by Suzanne Wright. This is the 2nd book in the Dark in You series, and I gave it 5 stars, same as the first one. I love Suzanne Wright. She is a great paranormal romance author. The series is about a demon couple. So Nox is the most powerful demon in the world. Demons do have psychic anchors, and once you find your anchor, you need to be by them, you need contact with them, and they will keep you from going rogue and keep you stable and are a link. Nox is incredibly possessive. His demon kind of views Harper as belonging to him. Harper is uncontrollable, which Nox and his demon both really like because they are bored in their immortal life and they just don't have any emotions until she shows up and drives them a little bit insane. I enjoy the plot, I enjoy the power struggles, and I really love the relationship between these two. I also enjoy the familial relationships on Harper's side, and there's a lot of entertainment value in these books. I really like it. If you like paranormal romance at all, this is a really, really great series. I've given both books that I've read 5 stars. It is not on Kindle Unlimited, so I do have to buy them. Again, I don't like to do that. So if I'm buying more than 1 book in a series, you know I love it. That's it. That's all 27 books that I read and finished in May. Not too shabby. If you have read or loved any of these, or you have recommendations based off my pretty obvious reading taste, please let me know. I'm always looking for people with similar tastes. If you have a romance booktube channel and read anything similar to me, please comment and tell me so I can subscribe to you, because like I said, I'm just looking for people who like what I like. If you watched this entire thing, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I hope that you are having a great reading month. Reading is not a competition, it should just be for fun, and I do that by reading only what I like, DNFing books that are not for me, and reading a lot. So that's just my personal thing, and if you read 2 books, no shame in your game. I will have a romance recommendations video in a few days, so if that interests you, please subscribe. I'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.